Welcome to the Friends of Zane Adams, aka FOZA podcast, bringing awareness of postpartum depression, suicides, and the children who are left behind. We'll be spotlighting positive outcomes from mothers as well as healthcare experts and counselors. Would you know the signs of PPD? Would you know how to help a loved one? Stay tuned. As a community, we can do more to support maternal mental wellness.
Greetings, FOZA family, and welcome to episode 41. This is Paulette Smith, and this episode is dedicated to navigating the overwhelming maze of postpartum depression resources and PMADs, or perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. If you have ever felt like reaching out for help or just looking for a comforting shoulder, but you started feeling lost or unsure about where to turn or where to go, you're not alone. Many new mothers and even experienced moms can run into times of confusion and stress just by trying to find the right support when they're feeling stress or anxiety. And it's more important if they're feeling even more serious negativity. Now, before continuing, I'd like to say that the information shared in FOZA podcasts is intended for educational purposes, and it's not to substitute for professional medical advice. So if you or someone you love is experiencing suicidal thoughts, please dial 988 for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Postpartum depression and other maternal mental health challenges are taken very seriously, so we strongly encourage you to always consult with your medical team before making any changes to your treatment or your mental health resources. Your well-being is our priority, and collaboration with your healthcare team is essential in your journey towards recovery. Now let's continue to break down the process of finding some of these resources, putting them in more simple steps. We do want to talk about the overwhelm, that part of it, because there are so many resources. As you know, postpartum depression has many faces, and some are still being discovered. And FOZA YouTube podcasters can see a list that's now being displayed as I speak, and most well-known diagnosed illnesses can be found on our website and in many other well-documented applications. With all that said, the spectrum is still so broad. One of the biggest challenges many new mothers face is the sheer volume of resources available. Google postpartum support, you'll get thousands of links, each offering different types of help, and the abundance of information can quickly turn from being helpful into being overwhelming, including all the therapy options and support groups and applications and books and podcasts, just like this one, and so much more. That endless list of resources, add to that, mothers can also face some conflicting advice from well-meaning friends, family members, or even medical professionals. You'll hear a resounding chorus that's usually higher than all the others. You should try therapy, and therapy is wonderful, while others will recommend mindful or self-care practices. But it's not just one path to take. That can leave new moms to feel even more unsure of which path to actually take. Now just think about it if she's already struggling with a PMAD. Now you can see how conflicting information can make things feel even more stressful for her. So let's look at what we're going to focus on in this podcast, 3 major sections, and I'm going to try to make them as clear and as appealing as possible. Number 1, prioritizing your resources according to your needs at the time. Get them to work for you when you need them. That's important. Number 2, making your resources easy to access. Because there are so many, sometimes it can take a while for you to get what you need. So that takes us into number 3, which is developing a plan. That's a plan beforehand to stay ahead of potential challenges. Not every mom experiences any challenges. Some mothers have a wonderful experience. They don't experience any challenges. But just in case, we know some of the things that can occur and we want to be prepared for them. So moving into section 1, prioritizing your resources, we talked about breaking down your resources by postpartum stages. That's one way to help ease the overwhelm. That is to prioritize. And that will be most helpful as you go along in your journey. For example, the first few weeks after birth, you're looking at physical recovery. That's the biggest thing there. Bonding with your baby and getting your body into a pain-free state. Getting to be more comfortable. And you're working on getting your emotional adjustments. So physical recovery and emotional adjustments, they're the key there. You want your support to be able to focus on that area because those are the areas where focus really is needed. You might want to think about getting resources in place for lactation consultants, doulas, pediatricians, the people who are going to help you get through those first stages. Emotional support, very critical in the early postpartum stages because that's when you're going to want to be looking for any challenges that might occur. And you don't want to ignore anything. It's also a time when conflicting advice may come pouring in because that's when all your friends and family members are pouring love into you and your new human being. And so you'll get to hear a lot of things. You'll get to talk to a lot of people. You want to make sure that if you're feeling insecure, you do get mental health professionals in that conversation, looking for support groups and getting friends or trusted friends or family members to help you find those. The main thing is to keep in mind you want someone to listen with no judgment as you express your feelings. Again, in the prioritizing section, we want to talk about what happens as time passes. Every aspect of the early stages may still exist. You may still have some of those things going on, but you'll start to feel more capable. You'll start to feel better about handling things. And that'll be good because the focus may shift around the 6-week mark. And then you'll be moving forward with other stages. This can be sometimes when the symptoms of postpartum depression might show themselves. But like I said, not every mom or every birthing person has the same experience. And not all symptoms present themselves in the same way. That's why you should never feel shy or ashamed to seek professional help for even small issues, because your wellness team can provide you with a list of some typical symptoms. They know you very well. They know your lifestyle, and they can help you determine a diagnosis that's going to be the best for you. And if treatment is required, the best treatment. The most important thing here is to trust yourself as well. That's kind of difficult to do because you're in strange waters, but trust your feminine instincts, trust your motherly instincts, and seek consultation before it becomes a critical need. Don't doubt that you can ever speak to someone, and don't feel as if you would be judged or that you're a bad mom. Don't feel that way. Finding a therapist who specializes in maternal mental health is important. Not every therapist is for everyone. So, as your tribe is helping you find resources, you want them to look professionally for those with expertise in postpartum issues. We're talking about prioritizing here, and that is as you become flooded with information and you're not sure how to put it all together, think of a tiered approach, okay? Start with your fingertips. I mean, by that, start making little notes. You can even use your mobile device. There's always a little notepad application inside your mobile device. You don't need to author a book, and you don't need to carry around a lot of different pens and papers and things. Just jot down some of the keywords that will help you express what you're feeling, remind you of your feelings at certain times of days to see if you can do something to rearrange that or to avoid that, and to discuss with your medical care provider. You can discuss things with your partner, a friend, or a family member. If you want to keep it private, you can, but at least once you have it down on paper, you can look at it and you can see if there are any patterns developing in the way you feel certain times, certain days, if you have any triggers. I said it before, I'll say it again many times. You are your own best advocate. And while you cannot diagnose yourself, you can take careful notes. And if you feel you're not being taken seriously, your notes can be as specific as they need to be about what you are experiencing. For example, if you're feeling sad or you're feeling particularly tired, you're feeling anxious and you don't want to feel that way. Any mood swings that you really don't want to have, but you're having them. Trouble sleeping, or the myriad of perinatal mood and anxiety disorders that you might feel. Definitely, you want to write those keywords down, because this will give you a concrete record to share with healthcare professionals, and it will show patterns, or if things are getting to be a little bit more severe, you can more easily recognize them. Remember, this is going to be valuable for you all around, for yourself and your medical team. And never forget this. You have the right to ask for a full mental health assessment or evaluation with a specialist. If you don't feel as if your doctor is taking your symptoms seriously, don't be afraid to ask for a second opinion. I can't stress enough, believe in yourself. Listen to yourself. Trust your instincts, because postpartum depression can distort how you perceive things. So you may not be feeling very trustworthy of yourself, but it's critical to trust that your feelings are valid, even if you're not understanding exactly what's going on. Even if others can't see what you're going through, that doesn't invalidate your experience. Even though you might be fatigued, keep pushing to find the help that suits your needs. Your health and well-being really does matter, especially during this time, and it's essential that you get the support you deserve.
Hi there, FOZA family. Every day, we at Friends of Zane Adams work to increase awareness and provide resources for mothers, birthing people, and families impacted by postpartum depression, maternal suicide, and perinatal mood and anxiety challenges. We use this podcast, our resource finder services, and our educational scholarship to make strides in breaking the silence surrounding postpartum depression. But we need your help to continue our efforts. Your donations enable us to bring about the awareness that's so desperately needed. Every donation, large or small, helps us reach more mothers, raise awareness, and prevent tragedies. We hope you'll consider making a contribution today by visiting FOZAinc.org/donate. Together, we can create a future where every mother, every child, and every family has the support they need. Thank you for being part of the change.
Welcome back, FOZA family, and thanks to you, Chrysalyn Santos, for serving as our organization's secretary, and for your continued encouragement as we continue with our podcast focused on navigating the maze of PMAD resources. The next thing I promised we'd talk about was getting easy access to resources. I'm going to list out some ways. It all depends on, of course, where you live and what resources you have available to you. But that's why we have FOZA Finder, to help you find some of these local resources. If you're not getting your list put together the way you'd like to see it, but we'll start with local clinics and hotlines. A lot of this, of course, will come from your medical team. You'll be following their advice. But as I said, you're your own best advocate. So if you're not feeling as if you are getting the support you feel you need, there's no one source. There are many sources. And all you have to do is send an email or make a call or reach out and get some lists of local places that maybe will give you more feeling of comfort. Some are very close by, like health clinics, community centers, hospitals. And believe it or not, some of these resources are underutilized. So if you're thinking about coming in and having a really long line to go through, that might not be the case. Many of these services are underutilized and they are not crowded and they are waiting to provide you with help. The next item on my list, websites and online platforms are available to you. Want to take those with caution. They have pros and they have cons. So they have positive aspects and they might have some negative aspects. But for sure, we're always going to provide you with a list of the most safe places and websites like Postpartum Support International, PSI. It has local chapters. There may be one near you. There is the Motherhood Center, which it's based in New York, but it has a virtual platform as well. And they specialize in looking at perinatal mood disorders and trying to get mothers through that period that might be experiencing that. So they specialize in that. If you have a more serious thought and you are looking for more specialized help, there's teletherapy programs. Many therapists work with your insurance company. Some therapists work with Medicaid. It's a matter of asking questions and digging, and we'll help you make some calls and help you get where you need to get with that. Next on the list is peer support, and that's where I wanted to talk about with a grain of salt, so to speak, because these platforms, they do have rules and guidelines to help moms go through the environment with safety and in a non-judgmental way with conversations and resources. They should not supersede your medical teams, and they should never be taken too seriously, or you should never feel as if someone there knows more per se than you do about your body, about your baby, about your child, because you are the first line knowledge of that. So you should never feel as if you're not getting it right because someone else might be doing something different and feel as if they're getting it right. We do ask you to keep in mind that while these, like I said, environments do have guidelines and good intentions for safety, you don't take them too seriously. You use them just as high-level information. And I want to say next, last on the list, but certainly not least, in the community are nonprofit organizations, and that includes churches. Churches and nonprofit organizations are great at connecting with others who've had similar experiences, and that can be a healing experience. So if you're feeling isolated or overwhelmed, reaching out to a local church might be a first step in not just finding solace, but connecting with the resources and support you need to navigate in a challenging time. Whether it's through pastoral consultation, support groups, or just finding a safe place to talk, churches can be a wonderful first step for holistic healing. They're typically close by, they're usually easy to access, and there may be less judgmental issues going on in there than you think. Many mothers have shared with us the powerful sense of community and connection in a church setting, because a mother can feel like she's supported by a network of people who genuinely care about her well-being. Even if you're not currently feeling like a religious person or connected to any kind of spirituality, keep in mind that local churches can offer programs that go way beyond Sunday services. They can provide emotional support, social services, practical resources, and these resources might even include meals and meal deliveries and childcare services, or someone to help with smaller children if you have them in the house along with a new baby. And some of them even can help you get through if you need financial assistance. So please do not overlook this powerful connection. Now, overall, it's critical to recognize that perinatal mood and anxiety disorders can develop with anyone of any socioeconomic status. That makes the recognition, even the diagnosis and treatment, very challenging because you can have multiple symptoms from different conditions all at once. And this doesn't just include mothers. This can include fathers and even foster parents. So early diagnosis and treatment are crucial for recovery. And you want to seek support from every avenue that's available to you so that you can make a significant recovery, or you can just stay in a good place and never dip. Let's talk about the third and final segment of making sure we don't get overwhelmed with the resources that are given to us. And that's organizing a mental health care plan, because we want to try to avoid PMADs if possible, or at least get the fastest care if we start experiencing something we don't want to experience. Creating a medical health plan, not talking about anything, again, overwhelming, talking about a tool that's going to help you not be overwhelmed. Because one way to tackle the overwhelming nature of postpartum depression is by having a plan. You don't get lost in yourself. So instead of just reacting to symptoms as they arise, creating a mental health care plan, even if it's very basic, like an outline, it can help you stay ahead of the curve. What kind of steps would you put into a plan like that? We always try to keep it with, simple, with 3 things if we can. And that's looking at your immediate support, your professional support, and your long-term strategies. So you can look at your immediate support as trusted family, friends, or partners to have a discussion with, or to talk about ways that you need support. And if you don't have a really strong circle in that way with family, friends, or partners, you don't want to hesitate to seek professional support. You can definitely pull that group support in there, because even though you might join a group and not know anyone there, remember, especially if it's a local group or a church group, remember there are going to be people in there that are having your same experience. They will be understanding and you will be safe. And that's another place that your medical team can help you get some connections going that way. They'll definitely help you get some connections in the way of professional support, depending on the symptoms that you're presenting or just the way you feel. And this is where your notes, of course, come in. You've been taking your notes and you've been looking at what's been going on in your life. Developing a long-term strategy. I wanted to mention that because general statistics say that perinatal postpartum period can be anywhere from the beginning of pregnancy to up to a year afterwards. But many mamas tell us that they have been affected for much longer, some up to 3 years. And of course, it's unique individuals having unique experiences. So that number could fluctuate in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Having a long-term strategy, not that we're wishing that, you would, we're looking forward to you having the need for a long-term strategy, but just making sure that you're putting a circle in place, a circle of support, of numbers, of people. They're not going to tire of you. They're not going to say, oh, here she comes again. They're not going to do that. They're going to know their role in your life as well. And that's why the first immediate support group is family and friends, trusted family and friends and partners, because they will be there for the long journey. But then if you need additional support, you want to make sure that you have your trusted professionals in place, and you want to make sure that you've joined some good support groups for some ongoing conversation, discussions, a great maybe group with a therapist in it that's going to meet your budget and meet your needs. Yeah, it's a lifestyle change. It is. It's a lifestyle change. But so is bringing a human being into the world. We're going to talk a little bit about, and we're still into organizing your plan. And part of your plan is your journal or your checklist. I mentioned that earlier in another segment, but there's real power in using a journal to make even a simple checklist. You doesn't have to be really big and long, especially when you use it daily, because consistency in tracking your emotional and mental health can be therapeutic in itself. You can be helping yourself simply by getting to better understand yourself on paper. So please don't underestimate this action. It doesn't require a long time or any effort, not that much effort, and it can help you identify your triggers. Plus, said before, your medical team can gain better control of your situation. Then we want to talk about making sure that you're communicating with your family. Everyone knows that you're setting up a support team. So this is with your loved ones as well. Being proactive about asking for help, not being ashamed, not being shy. You have your trustworthy group around you. They'll be looking for ways to support you. You won't have to beg for that. They'll be looking for ways to support you. So whether that means meal prepping, child care, or just a listening ear when you need it, just a listening ear when things get a little tough. You want to make sure you have those on a long-term basis. Well, FOZA family and fans, a lot of information has been shared. I've shared a lot of stuff with you, and even more can be found on our website. Have interactivity there, and our YouTubers get to enjoy the visuals, of course, that comes with this podcast. We always try to put some information in there that you can copy and you can use and you can share with others. I hope that I've helped clear an easier path to the journey for seeking help for postpartum depression, or even to determine if you may be experiencing one of the perinatal mood or anxiety disorders. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be, but it doesn't have to be, because you can prepare for what we know can occur, and we can prioritize our resources. Okay? Remember, you're never alone, and you don't have to go through this alone. Help is ready, and it's very powerful when you ask for it, because that's taking a step towards healing. So if you see any symptoms, the earlier you seek help, the better. Quick recap: prioritizing your resources, making your resources easy to access, and developing a plan beforehand just so that you can head off potential challenges. That's going to be something that's going to help you overcome the overwhelm. A while back, we had a podcast, Overcome Your Overwhelm. We're going to search through our channel and get that. It was very good. So if you're listening or watching, and you're wondering where to start checking out resources, we've listed a lot on our FOZA site. That's FOZAinc.org, FOZAINC.org. When you get there, you can click on FOZA Finder if the resources are still looking overwhelming for you. And we ask you to share this episode with someone who may benefit from it. We know that you've subscribed, or we hope you've subscribed, and you'll ask others to subscribe so they can get notifications for more episodes on supporting maternal mental health. Until next time, this is Paulette Smith, signing off in loving memory of Christina LaShawn Thompson Adams. Bye-bye.